Bryce Young. Got his man! Touchdown!
Right now at 9, the comeback Cats. We'll be talking with Carolina Sports Live's Mike Lissette about how the Panthers took fans on another wild ride to stay undefeated at the bank.
And leap for life. A former South Carolina state senator jumped from a window to escape the flames that destroyed the mansion he shared with his wife. Prominent judge. We're going to show you the full video, tell you more about the harrowing escape.
And we'll also check in live with the man who is determined to walk on a treadmill in Mooresville for 24 hours. He's got 21 more to go. He's doing a great job. It's all for a good cause. We'll tell you what that is at 9 here.
Queen City News starts now.
Good Monday morning, everyone, and welcome into our 9 o'clock hour here on Queen City News Now. I'm Annie Satowski.
I'm Savannah Rudisell. Our Julian Sidor is out on assignment. Jason Harper off for the day, but working hard for us. We've got meteorologist Ted Payton tracking a really comfortable start for our work week.
Pretty comfortable start. We're going to be above normal here for the start of the week. The way we start the week is not how we're going to finish the week, and then somewhere in between, Mother Nature's going to give us a little bit of that wet weather too.
All right.
Flip-flop.
Yeah.
Let's ride the roller coaster, Ted.
Just about everything on deck for the next few days. This morning, nice and comfortable. 60s with the mix of sun and clouds. Taking a look around the crowd, we have Independence Boulevard moving at a speed limit pace, bottom left-hand corner of your screen. It looks like I-85 is nice and smooth as well, bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Not treating either of them like Charlotte Motor Speedway, which was in the top right, but Arlington camera not looking too bad, top left-hand corner. Taking a look in terms of our I-85 camera, we still see east winds at 8 miles per hour, upper 60s, starting to cross into what will be the 70s in that 9 o'clock hour. We're 4 to 5 degrees warmer. 10 to 12 degrees warmer up through our mountain county. So we'll feel the difference compared to where we were yesterday. Upper 60s for Charlotte, our uptown region. We're in the upper 50s, low 60s, I-40 corridor, mid 50s, Boone and Jefferson. Day planner ramps us up into the upper 70s through lunchtime. Highs land in the low 80s, peak heating hours of the day. We'll have another look at your forecast and what to expect heading out the door coming up in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Annie?
All right, Ted, thank you. Here's a live look in Stanley. This is some news we've been keeping an eye on all morning long. This is Highway 27 again in Stanley. Police are on scene there of a very serious crash that has closed the road near Robinson Avenue. It is blocked off here and drivers are advised to take an alternate route. We have seen several people blow past those road closure signs. If you see them, pay attention, go around them, find an alternate route. We're told that this will remain closed until 11 o'clock this morning. We're trying to get more information on exactly what happened here, and we'll bring that to you on air and online. Once we know more, we'll also have a check of your pinpoint traffic in just a little bit and to see how those that road closure is causing backups in and around the Queen City.
One person is seriously hurt after a late night shooting in East Charlotte. It happened just before midnight on Rockland Drive. That's off Rocky River Road West near North Tryon Street. Medic says that one person was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Now, it's not clear on what happened or if any suspects are in custody. We'll continue to follow this and bring you the latest both on air and online at qcnews.com.
Classes are canceled today for South Carolina State University students, but a lockdown at the HBCU was lifted earlier this morning following 2 shootings over the homecoming weekend. We also just learned some new information about one of those shooting victims. A 19-year-old woman died from her injuries. That was Jayla Butler of Saluda, South Carolina. A man was also wounded in a separate shooting. University leaders say both victims were guests on campus and they weren't students. No students were harmed. 18-year-old Matthew McCoy is now in custody for one of those shootings. He's charged with pointing a firearm at a person and carrying a weapon on school property. University leaders say that McCoy is not an SC State student. Officers say that he did admit to shooting at a man from his car during a town hall Saturday night. SC State's president praised students for following safety protocols.
This past week, leading up to homecoming, we sent several safety reminders out to our students. You may have seen some of them. One directly from me, emailed to every student, reminding them of their responsibility, reminding them that if they see something, to say something, reminding them to be careful of the visitors they invite to our campus during this homecoming. And I believe they adhered to those messages. I believe that is why you did not see our students involved in any way with any of these situations.
SLED has wrapped up its investigation. Officials will be offering another town hall for students sometime today.
An investigation is underway into how a fire started at a home in Edisto Beach linked to a South Carolina Circuit Court judge. This fire started Saturday in a gated neighborhood, and that home belongs to Judge Diane Goodstein. 3 people were hurt. 1 had to be airlifted to a hospital. Reports say that Goodstein's husband, former state senator Arnold Goldstein, was hurt jumping out of a window to try to escape the flames. A neighbor said that she and her dad saw it all happen from down the road where they were staying.
It was so hot he couldn't even cross over the bridge to get there, but he said he couldn't do much because the whole house was already on fire and just the heat from the fire.
We were worried for the people, but also we were concerned that it was going to spread.
It was just scary, and we hope that everyone was okay.
The SLED agents are investigating. Officials say extra patrols are in place, and the judicial branch is monitoring the situation. 9:04, and taking a live look now from the U.S. Capitol. As government shutdown enters a second week, the White House is now threatening mass firings.
And senators plan to vote on a spending plan once again later on today. Washington correspondent Rashad Hudson has the latest.
The government shutdown enters its second week.
We need them to turn the lights back on so that everyone can do their work.
President Trump says firings of federal workers will start soon if the government doesn't reopen.
I call them Democrat layoffs. They're Democrat layoffs. They're causing it.
Democrats are pushing back on the president's comments.
There's no one forcing him to do that. He will do that because he wants to do that, because he and Russell Vogt want to cause even more pain for the American people.
Congressional leaders from both sides of the aisle continue to blame each other for the shutdown.
I want Chuck Schumer to do the right thing that he's done throughout his 30-plus year career in Congress and vote to keep the government open.
It's a Republican shutdown because they've refused to talk with us.
At the center of the fight, whether to extend health care tax credits under the Affordable Care Act, something Democrats are fighting for.
Democrats are simple. We want to extend it, and so they won't have to pay that increase. And Johnson does not want to do it. He's just not serious about it.
And that was Rashad Hudson reporting. While Senate leaders plan to hold more votes later today, both parties are still far apart on key issues, mainly health care funding. Without a breakthrough, though, the White House says that those layoffs could begin as early as this week.
A federal judge appointed by President Donald Trump has temporarily blocked his administration from deploying any National Guard units to Portland, Oregon. This latest ruling came hours after the president mobilized California troops for Portland because that same judge had blocked him from using Oregon's own National Guard the day before. The ruling also blocks Texas troops from being sent to Portland and Chicago. Last week, President Trump authorized the deployment of 400 National Guard members to Democratic-led cities, which he says is necessary to control crime and protect federal agents. The White House has not responded to the ruling so far.
The Supreme Court will begin its new term today. Justices are expected to review at least 39 cases. Next month, they'll weigh President Trump's use of emergency powers to impose tariffs. The court will also hear arguments over the president's efforts to fire 2 independent agency leaders, Federal Trade Commission member Rebecca Slaughter and Federal Reserve Board of Governors member Lisa Cook. The High Court will also consider 3 major election law cases. And then tomorrow, the justices will hear arguments in a Colorado case about a law banning mental health providers from using conversion therapy to treat LGBTQ clients. Overseas, Israel and Hamas are expected to have indirect negotiations in Egypt today. Tomorrow marks 2 years since the Hamas attack on Israel that killed 1,200 people and sparked the war in Gaza. Under the U.S. peace plan, Hamas would release the remaining 48 hostages within 3 days. About 20 hostages are believed to be alive. Hamas would also give up power and disarm. Israel says it supports the plan, but Hamas said it's willing to release hostages and hand over power to other Palestinians, but other aspects of the plan will require further discussion.
Back here at home, if you're near Carowinds this week, don't be alarmed if you see quite a few police officers and other members of law enforcement or hear any loud noises coming from Carowinds. First responders will be taking part in several days of training exercises, all starting Tuesday and running until Thursday. First responders will be going through various simulations, and police departments from across the state, including CMPD, are involved, as well as the U.S. Army, local hospitals, and the FBI.
Let's take another live look at the Planet Fitness inside Mooresville. That is Gabe Barajas there on the treadmill. He started his 24-hour walk on a treadmill to raise money and awareness for cystic fibrosis. Good morning, Gabe. He is walking in honor of his late friend Jacob Venditti. He's going to be walking all through today and then into tomorrow morning. He will wrap up at 6 a.m. In case you were wondering, and we were, Gabe is looking for volunteers to take over for him briefly on the treadmill so he can take some bathroom breaks. He says so far no takers. So if you were in there in the gym and you see him, say hi, offer to walk a couple minutes for him. I'm sure he would greatly appreciate it. We're going to continue to check in with Gabe throughout the day. All right, 9:09 on our Monday morning. Let's get a check of our pinpoint weather with meteorologist Ted Phaeton. Ted, a beautiful morning for a walk with the pups.
Yeah, not a bad morning walk, whether you're Gabe or maybe taking your four-legged friend out for a nice long walk, as we have those 60s into the mid-70s through your morning hours, upper 70s lunchtime, partly cloudy skies on tap, mix of sun and clouds for most of today as highs peak in the low 80s. More of that moisture over southern Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Same goes for Georgia, southeast parts of South Carolina. That's indicated by the light gray and white shading in our water vapor satellite imagery. The brown on your map further west is where we have more of the impacts of the dry air that's locked in place. Drought conditions showing abnormally dry conditions in the yellow, moderate drought level 2 out of 5 in that beige shading. And we're starting to creep into that time of year where that fall foliage settles in early to mid-October in our mountain counties. Think Elk Knob, Boone, Banner Elk into Newland, even further west towards Waynesville into Canton. Could see the changing of the leaves. We still wait until at least early to mid-November to get some of the changing leaves around uptown. So not seeing too much of those impacts while the Outer Banks stays nice and dry. I'll break down more of what we could see close to home when it comes to rain chances and the cool down heading into the second half of the work week with another look at your forecast coming up in about 10 minutes. Ladies.
Appreciate it, Ted. Want to get you one last check here of your roadways just past 9:10 here this morning. We are starting to see a couple of things clear up. However, we have really had some lingering issues out on the roadways that have just made a mess of things, caused a headache for some people. Now, earlier this morning, we were showing you the road closure signs. This is because 27 is closed due to an incident that happened earlier this morning. We're hearing now that they won't be able to reopen that road after the crash until around 11 o'clock today. You can see on the purple, a little skinny right there, but that purple section, that's what's closed. People are trying to use Hickory Grove if they can to try to get around that. Taking a wider look outside the Queen City, one of the other issues that we are still kind of waiting to clear up on as we're heading out of rush hour is in the Steel Creek area. Already, just within the last 5 minutes, we've started to see a lot of those red sections on the roadway indicating slow traffic really shortened. So not as much of an impact as we were just seeing about 5 minutes or so ago. Also seeing a lot of improvement on 485 around Mint Hill and Matthews, both inner and outer loop, starting to clear up just a little bit, exactly what we want to see here on our Monday morning at the end of rush hour. These are your drive times if you are coming in from the east side, just a little bit longer than you may be anticipating. Make sure you watch your speeds and give yourself plenty of room. We'll get you another look at traffic starting tomorrow morning at 4:30. But later this morning, we'll meet a North Carolina Army veteran who lost a leg in service of his country. He needs a new, more accessible home. So we'll tell you all about the effort to make that happen.
What a comeback, right? For the Panthers, call them cardiac cats for a reason. Carolina Sports Live's Mike Lissette will break down the big victory at the bank for our team here.
But first, we have new information about Mark Sanchez, what led up to him getting stabbed, getting arrested, and it turns out the other guy involved was a senior citizen. That's next. You're watching Queen City News, most honored, most local news in Charlotte. I can hear you now.
Yay!
Hello.
What's going on?
Hi, Mikey.
It's Michael Set.
Don't
How are you guys? I can't see you guys. Is that a problem?
Oh, well, we haven't moved yet. We just finished the block at the desk. And
I just see Dawn. I see a picture of Dawn.
Oh, okay.
A picture of Dawn, huh?
Is that a problem?
I mean, not
I don't know, Dawn. Is that going to be a problem?
I mean, I don't need to see you, but that's the only thing that's different this time around for me.
Yeah. I don't know.
If everything's fine and you see me, then that is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clean on air.
You look like a ghost, though. Like, your image looks like kind of blur. Like, I don't know how to describe it. You look fake.
Like the borders of you.
Yeah, the borders of you are fuzzy. That's much better. There you go.
I think the screen was dirty.
Oh, okay.
I think either that or I'm an apparition now.
Mm-hmm. What's up?
What's up, Tom?
I said either that or I'm an apparition, like a ghost. Hello?
Oh, wait. I didn't know that we were talking about the Roval at all.
Oh, I can do that. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay. I wasn't prepared for anything on the Roval.
Oh, just ask me just my thoughts on it. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Gotcha.
Just something generic.
Okay. Did not know that.
It's okay. No, it's fine.
At which point do we move back to this? I saw that there's a line in there, right? Okay. Former NFL quarterback turned Fox announcer Mark Sanchez is under arrest in an Indianapolis hospital this morning. He was stabbed early yesterday, and this morning we're learning more about what happened. Investigators say the 38-year-old got into an argument with a 69-year-old food delivery driver over a parking space, and it was all caught on surveillance video. Words led to shoving and an eventual stabbing. The older man was also hurt and told police he acted in self-defense. Officers say Sanchez faces a number of charges, including battery with injury and public intoxication. Police say Sanchez told them he doesn't recall what happened.
Closing into the 2-minute timeout. Bryce Young got his man! Touchdown! Mitchell Evans! And the Panthers take the lead!
A lot of energy behind the slamming of that football. That was the final touchdown that the Panthers needed to take back the lead yesterday and sink the fish.
That's right. Bank was just absolutely electric as the Panthers hosted the Miami Dolphins. Now this victory, this is tied for the biggest comeback in Panthers history.
All right, let's go ahead and bring in Carolina Sports Live's Mike Lissette talking about this victory Monday. Good morning, Mike. Listen, after that opening drive, I didn't think that we would be having this conversation this morning.
Well, after that opening drive, I mean, it was midway through the second quarter where I thought we were not going to have this conversation this morning. They looked so bad. I mean, this team is so inconsistent. They can't even decide on a week-to-week basis. Now it's on a quarter-to-quarter basis what team they're going to be. 1 minute they look awful. The next minute things are firing on all cylinders. Bottom line, they'll take the win, and you got to feel good about a lot of things after yesterday.
And Mike, some of it just seemed to be things falling our way or not, right? It seems like we're running some of the same plays, making the same targets for Leggett, right? And sometimes in the first half, it's just not falling. In the second half, we just need to be executing on a lot more of the basics. Would you agree?
Well, a lot of it was those too early turnovers. That was the issue. Bryce, they had him early, and Bryce had that big fumble, and then he had the interception. So he was having a miserable day. You looked at the stats. I think midway through the third, and they were still trailing, and the Panthers were absolutely clobbering the Dolphins in rushing attacks yardage, but they just couldn't put points on the board. So it was just a matter of finding ways to get into the end zone. Once they did that, they were fine. But man, oh man, the thing that I noticed differently was they were not going running back by committee yesterday. They were letting Rico handle the majority of the carries, as opposed to both Rico and Chuba. And that seemed to give the offense a lot more flow than it had in recent weeks.
Well, and to that point, Mike, do you think that they continue to go that route as we welcome Dallas in coming up this weekend?
It's interesting. I don't think Chuba by any means lost his job. Chuba is their guy, but I think there might be something to the fact that, we don't need to spread the wealth around. Let one guy handle the rock, move the ball up the field rather than just break up the rhythm, because it hasn't worked. And to be honest, it hasn't worked in recent years. Carolina has tried in vain to establish a two-back system, and it's never really hit the mark. So I think there might be something to that.
And another big story that we had this weekend, Mike, incredible road course race in Concord. Now, like I said, you were in victory lane with SVG after the Roval. What were his thoughts there?
Oh, first of all, a thrill for me. I mean, I worked a long day yesterday, but to be able to go to both events, start off with the Panthers and then over to what happened at Charlotte Motor Speedway, it was awesome. And Shane Van Gisbergen, 5 straight road course victories. But this one he had to sweat for. Kyle Larson and him down the stretch were a lot of fun. The two of them were going neck and neck. And one thing that I thought was really interesting was down the stretch, you're watching it, and it's just like you're watching two masters at work at what they do. And you're thinking, Shane is waiting for that moment to strike. When is he going to make the pass on Kyle Larson? And I asked him about that. I said, how did you know? And he looked at me like, are you kidding me? I was trying the whole time. Kyle Larson was just really good. I got lucky and got around him. But I'll tell you, you're not lucky when you win 5 straight road courses. He's got to figure out a way to win on an oval. Once he does that, the rest of the field, man, look out. Shane Van Gisbergen is a player.
Yeah, a name we need to know, and he will be unstoppable. All in all, a great weekend of sports here in the Queen City. Mike, thank you so much. We will see you tonight on Carolina Sports Live.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And as we know, that wasn't the only sports action that we had going on this weekend.
We're going to talk about the big win for Charlotte FC and yet another disappointing loss for UNC straight ahead. But first, we want to send things over to meteorologist Ted Phaeton, who's keeping a nice track on our current conditions. Ted, it's about that time of the year where we're going to be seeing 2 very different stories when we're talking to you now versus when we're talking about how we're feeling when we're heading home for the day.
Yeah, the way we start the week is also not going to be how we finish the week, as those high temperatures in the low 80s for today will be a thing of the past by the time we get to Thursday and Friday. Upper 60s, east winds getting your morning started. We have dew points in the low 60s. Start to ramp up that humidity just a little bit as we have a look over Independence Boulevard near Sharon Amity Road. Now low to mid 60s I-40 corridor, getting out of the upper 50s for Boone and Jefferson. Starting to warm up now, as 70s will be on deck as we get into more of the later morning hours, lunchtime in the low to mid 70s, and I'm looking at highs land in the low 80s with partly cloudy skies lasting all the way into this evening. We'll be in the low 70s through 10 p.m. Highs still peak above normal for this time of year. Same goes for Tuesday. Average high this time of year typically gets into the upper 70s. We'll be closer to that Wednesday with rain chances ramping up. Much cooler second half of the work week. So rain chances focus on Wednesday afternoon. We could see some of the lingering showers into Thursday. Big picture shows that cold front and stationary front draped all the way through Texas as moisture sits off to our south. So as we head into your Tuesday, we'll pull more of that moisture into eastern Tennessee and parts of Kentucky. Dry for your Monday afternoon into Tuesday morning. And I'm looking at rain chances ramp up all ahead of that cold front over eastern Tennessee Tuesday afternoon before that cold front arrives on our doorstep heading into your Wednesday. Overnight lows bottom out in the low 60s, 50s expected in our mountain counties. And again, that 7-day forecast will bring those low 70s heading into the weekend. You're watching Queen City News Now, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. We'll be right back.
So, Annie, we were just talking about the Panthers and the Roval, but us here in the Carolinas are just so spoiled with so much local sports to watch, or invest in, live and die by. Of course, Carolina sports fans watching all weekend long.
That's right. So you may have wanted to look away if you were in Chapel Hill, though, unfortunately. There may be some growing concern with head coach Bill Belichick after their matchup with the Clemson Tigers. The Tar Heels had no answers defensively for QB Cade Klubnik, who had his best game of the year by far. He went 22 for 24. That's pretty good. 254 yards, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. Just a great display from the Tigers offensively. And then on the other side of things, the Tar Heels just couldn't get anything going on their end, and they just couldn't get their defense off the field. Dabo Sweeney was encouraged by what he saw from his squad.
As we always say, the fun's in the winning. It was good to see a team, see this team win a game. Really proud of them. Good start to kind of this restart for us, if you will. Guys, I thought did a great job these last couple weeks of buying into what they need to do. I mean, super proud of how they played. We have not played much complimentary football this entire year, and that's what you saw. I mean, from the opening snap. So just, really, I'm just proud of our guys.
The Tar Heels' next game is October 17th on the road. They're going to head out to California, and they'll be facing off against the Cal Berkeley Golden Bears.
Well, the Crown picked up a much-needed win on the road against DC United Saturday. This was a really sloppy game for DC, as goalkeeper Luis Barraza gets a little too eager, and he grabs the ball outside of the box. That results in a red card. And it goes from bad to worse for DC United, as shortly after that, Aaron Herrera picks up the team's second red card after the day after headbutting Wilfred Zaha. DC now down 2 men. Just a second here, you get a closer look at the tussle between the two of them. Now, on the free kick off of this headbutt here, Charlotte FC capitalizes. Who else would it be? We got Zaha with a little give and go to Nicola, and he bends it around the corner for that go-ahead goal. And that would be the only score of the day. Head coach Dean Smith says he was happy with the win, but maybe wanted to see just a little more from his guys. Maykay?
All right, well, how old is too old to fly? A major blow for older airline pilots who'd like to stay in the cockpit longer. I'm Maykay Bueller. Coming up, I've got the details. Annie?
And which state is better for business, North or South Carolina? We'll tell you what one new report says when we check in with Jane King live at the New York Stock Exchange next.
And we're looking at the tropics, an area of disturbance, somewhere of interest, with 70% chance of developing over the next 5 to 7 days, 50% chance over the next 2 days. We'll keep an eye on the tropics and your forecast close to home coming up here after a short break. You're watching Queen City News Now, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. We'll be right back.
Welcome into our 9:30 half hour of Queen City News here this morning. Thanks for starting your Monday with us. I'm Savannah Rudisell.
I'm Annie Satowski. Julian Sador is on assignment. Jason Harper is off. We're going to get the whole gang back together, all 5 of us here, right? But meteorologist Ted Payton's been holding it down for the guys here, and we're starting off in this typical fall pattern. We're going to need the long sleeves, and then we get to shut them by the afternoon.
Ditch them, yeah. Layers is the name of the game for the parents that sends the kids to school with the jackets. Make sure the name's on the tag on the inside.
So they come
you
home.
Already know. Yeah, they're going to come home without the jacket that you sent them to school with. But thankfully, Lost and Found will likely have that secured and prepared for you. Taking a look right now from our Arlington camera with a beautiful shot of the mix of sun and clouds that gets your morning started here around the Queen City. Relatively comfortable this morning as, again, we are now crossing from those upper 60s into the 70s for the start of your morning. Not looking too bad here as our temperatures land anywhere from 3 to 4 degrees warmer compared to yesterday, 9 to 13 degrees warmer up through our mountain counties. That's giving us mid 60s for Charlotte, 70 degrees Lancaster, upper 50s, low 60s for Boone and Jefferson. Day planner helps us cross into the 70s here late morning, early afternoon. We'll get into the low 80s peak heating hours of the day, which lands above normal. Winds out of the east anywhere from 3 to 8 miles per hour. Backyard grilling forecast, upper 80s on tap as we head into this evening. So we'll continue to usher in those warm temperatures for the start of the week. Much cooler end of the week on the way as the cold front ushers in those rain chances. Tonight, though, only bottoms out in the low 60s. I'm looking at your pollen count, low to medium for this week. Might need to pop the Claritin and Zyrtec with some of those allergies flaring up throughout the week. Mountain County forecast, 70s turn to upper 50s, low 60s Thursday and Friday. There's your rain chances Wednesday, not just for the higher elevations, but for uptown as well. Overnight lows in the 50s to even upper 30s Friday morning. That big cool down on the way. We'll break down more coming up in the next 10 minutes. Ladies.
All right, Ted, thank you. It's 9:33, the opening bell ringing exactly 3 minutes ago. This morning, there's a departure to tell you about for American Airlines and passengers there and your carry-on bags.
And we also have some big deals in tech and banking that are driving stocks higher this morning. Jane King is live at the New York Stock Exchange with those stories on this first day of the new trading week. Good morning, Jane.
Good morning. So starting out positive here. We are shrugging off the government shutdown. The market's up. The Dow's up about 70 points or so. Nasdaq's up a little bit more than 100. And OpenAI is taking a stake in the chip maker AMD. So that's getting the tech sector particularly excited this morning. And also the Midwest Bank, Fifth Third, buying Comerica Bank for about $11 billion.
Right, yeah, that's a big deal in the Midwest there. But down here in the Carolinas, we ranked very high on a new list of best states to do business. Which one came out on top?
Well, which one came on top was Georgia, but South Carolina second, only to Georgia, as the best state to relocate or expand a business. This ranking comes from Area Development, which look at costs and access to water and the ease of getting permits and taxes. North Carolina also very high on this list. It was number 4.
And if any North Carolinians want to fly to those other destinations, they might have a win if they get on American Airlines. Right, Jane?
Yes, it is removing those metal bag sizers at the boarding gates across the U.S. today. So flyers will no longer be required to squeeze in the carry-on to make sure it meets the size requirements. So big win here for flyers, many of whom kind of stuff those carry-ons in order to avoid the pesky check bag fees.
All right, Jane, thank you very much for the update. We appreciate it. We'll check back in with you tomorrow morning.
All right, speaking of American Airlines and travel, let's take a live look from Charlotte Douglas International this morning. A new major ruling that could have some big impacts on the airline industry as a whole in the coming years.
A proposal to keep older pilots in the cockpit for longer has been rejected. Chief Transportation Correspondent and pilot May-Kay Beeler has an update on a story that she reported back in September. May-Kay?
Yeah, well, when is an airline pilot too old to fly? On Friday, the International Civil Aviation Organization, known as ICAO, rejected increasing the mandatory airline pilot retirement age from 65 to 67. The United States and the organization, part of the United Nations, and regulates international flight, requires pilots to retire when they reach 65. At ICAO's meeting in Montreal, an airline trade group called for the age to be raised to 67, noting the mandatory retirement age was increased from 60 to 65 back in 2006 with no increase in problems, but aviation unions cite safety concerns and want to keep the age at 65, saying upping the age is not backed by data and science. The Airline Pilots Association, the largest airline pilots union in the world, representing more than 80,000 pilots, applauded the rejection, citing current medical science doesn't support a change. The union's president praised ICAO for putting sound policy over politics and focusing on data-driven safety standards. So the idea of raising the retirement age was been tossed around and rejected before. It failed in a 2024 congressional attempt, but now lawmakers like Senator Ted Cruz are urging the Trump administration to support raising the retirement age to 67, citing the current policy is forcing thousands of highly qualified and experienced pilots into early retirement every year. This is important for the most part, with few exceptions like Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, which do not have a maximum pilot age limit. Worldwide standards mandate airline pilots retire at 65.
Okay, a lot of debate about this, but why the opposition to raising that retirement age?
Unfortunately, not for all of us. As people tend to get older, they tend to have more medical issues. Now, pilots have to take a medical exam every 6 months. You must pass that medical exam, but some that have some elder issues may have to be on medical leave for a while or get a special issuance. So this takes them out of the cockpit. So they're just saying, you know what, let's just stick with the 65 top age. Older, there tend to be more issues, but we all know people age differently. Yeah. And I can tell you, my friends that had to retire at 65 are not happy about it because they love to fly.
Right.
Now, this is just for airline pilots. They can still go fly privately for another company.
No one's taking the keys.
Right, right. But this is for airline pilots.
Gotcha. All right, May-Kay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Time now is 9:38, and parents, listen up. As South Carolina state health officials say there's an outbreak of measles in the upstate. Officials say 8 cases have been reported in the region, 5 of them just within the last month. Because those cases are suspected to be connected, health officials are now considering it an outbreak. People who have become sick are unvaccinated and do not have any immunity from past measles infections. Officials say those who have measles are isolating right now.
Not common to see measles outbreaks, period, because most people are vaccinated. When they do happen, it happens because people are exposed to people that have the disease. It's not like the cold or flu, which is everywhere and comes around seasonally. Measles can happen at any time.
Health officials will not say exactly where the cases are located, other than in upstate South Carolina. Calls for change in North Carolina now answered.
Governor Josh Stein's signature is now on House Bill 307, also known as Arena's Law, but it's not totally in effect just yet. The legislation is named after Irina Zarutska. She was the victim of a deadly August 22nd light rail stabbing in South End.
Now, the law puts several changes to criminal laws and pretrial procedures in place, effective starting in December. It also lays out a plan to restart the death penalty in the state. Developing now overseas, France's new Prime Minister, Sébastien Lecornu, he has resigned just a day after naming his government and less than a month in office. The French presidency announced this morning that President Emmanuel Macron has accepted his resignation. Lecornu's choice of ministers faced some criticism from across the political spectrum.
Still ahead, he was severely injured serving our country in Iraq, and now the push is on to help that local veteran in a way that will be truly life-changing. His story just ahead.
And we'll check in to see how the guy who was walking 24 hours on a treadmill is doing, and if maybe someone has stepped in to help him out, give him a bathroom break. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and most local news in Charlotte. We'll be back after this.
Some breaking news just into our newsroom. The Supreme Court has just rejected an appeal from Ghislaine Maxwell, the imprisoned former girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein.
And this is the very first day of the new term for the Supreme Court justices. They decided to decline to take up a case that would have drawn some renewed attention to the sexual abuse cases after President Donald Trump's administration sought to tamp down some of the criticism over its refusal to publicly release some of those more investigative files that they had seen from Epstein's case.
Maxwell's lawyers, a British socialite, argued that she never should have been tried or convicted for her role in luring teenage girls to be sexually abused by Epstein. He was a New York financier. She is serving, Maxwell is, a 20-year prison sentence.
Again, one major discovery here from the first day of the Supreme Court. We will continue to follow some of the other decisions, the cases they do decide to take up. We'll continue to bring you those updates a little bit later on today in Queen City News at noon and then 4. And our Queen City hometown tour is going to be right here in the Queen City this week with a stop at Camp North End. Our Hometown Live series happens each Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock. Going to be having those for the next couple of weeks. They feature our storyteller Maureen Wirtz and Chief Business Correspondent Taylor Young. This week they'll be joined by meteorologist Ted Phaeton and our Julian Sador. We hope you join them there as well.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and doctors are urging women to get their mammograms. According to the CDC, breast cancer is the second most common cancer among American women. And while diagnoses have increased, more women are finding breast cancer earlier thanks to screenings. The Preventative Services Task Force recommends women between 40 and 74 years old who are at average risk get their mammogram every other year. And while getting a mammogram may be uncomfortable, experts say it shouldn't be painful.
Men might think that a mammogram hurts because they've probably heard that from their family, but they don't hurt. A good mammogram should never hurt.
The annual campaign started in 1985 to educate people on prevention and symptoms of breast cancer. Expectations for survival at stage 1 are 99% and 50% for stage 4 or 5.
The time is now 9:45. In Queen City News with a little bit of music, proud to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. If you hadn't eaten breakfast already, this might make you a little hungry, as in today's story, we take you to a taqueria in Buffalo, New York, serving up some authentic Mexican dishes with a special twist.
Oh, the atmosphere here is definitely different, crazy. It's awesome. I mean, I love being here. Our customers love it. I mean, they tell us all the time that they love the way that we treat them. That's what they do, keep coming back.
Once you step into Taqueria Los Mayas, you feel as if you've traveled straight to Mexico.
The details, like the homemade corn tortillas ladies making it on a chair, to like, cutting down to like the spices and like the dances and the design in general.
The restaurant on Genesee Street has been serving up authentic Mexican cuisine since 2017.
In general, like the name, and Los Mayas, definitely one of my owners, which is the Mayans. And that says off a lot because, again, we go back to the homemade corn tortillas, which we do make in-house here every day. And that's what sets the theme of the tortillas, from the tortillas to the tamales and the chile poblanos, which is awesome. I love those. I could probably eat those every day.
Amari Ortiz is from Puerto Rico and also has family from Mexico. Working at Taqueria Los Mayas keeps him connected to his roots.
From the vibe place, the food, I mean, we try our best every day, especially from our homemade corn tortillas, which is our main focus here when we do come in at Taqueria Los Mayas. Focus on the tacos, the tortillas, scratch from the chile rellenos, from our salsas. These are our homemade corn tortillas that we make in-house every day.
From sizzling fajitas to savory tamales, each dish is crafted from generations of flavor and traditions.
Here, he already has the birria on there, on a bed of rice. the 3 tacos. It comes with the broth, which is right there. And that's what people dip the tacos in. The regular pita de gallo, your onions, cilantro, and tomatoes. That's how we make that here. I just want to make them actually come in and feel like they are in Mexico when they try our food. And when they leave, they actually want to come back.
It might just be their secret ingredient that keeps people wanting more.
I get those quotes all the time. What do you guys do to the food? I'm like, we just treat it with love, you know?
That's a recipe for success. Sarah Minkowitz, News 4.
All right, back to that story that we've been talking about all morning long. This is a live look inside the Planet Fitness in Mooresville. That is Gabe Barajas there. He is on the treadmill looking like he's not even breaking a sweat there. That's good because he's going to be doing this for 24 hours, all to raise money and awareness for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. He's walking in honor of his late good friend, Jacob Venditti. Big waves there, Gabe. You're looking good. He's going to be walking all day, and he will wrap up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, staying focused on the goal there.
You know, incredibly impressive goal. He's got a very lofty goal, very good organization behind him as well. But what I am partially most impressed with is his ability to look natural while walking on camera. Trust me, folks, if you have not had a news camera right in your face as you're just trying to look natural, this is the way to do it. Take advice from Gabe.
A master class there. I look really bad on a treadmill. So good for Gabe there. And as we bring in meteorologist Ted Phaeton, look, if you want to walk outside instead of inside on the treadmill, it's a great day to do it.
Yeah, it is a great day to do it. Certainly follow that strut and go head out and about and enjoy the partly cloudy skies, peaks of sunshine. That kicks things off with those upper 60s, low 70s for this morning. Now, the way we start the day is not how we're going to finish. We get a lot warmer here through the afternoon. East winds coming in at about 8 miles per hour. Dew points low 60s, upper 60s for those temperatures, upper 50s, low 60s, Boone and Jefferson, mid 60s, I-40 corridor. We're officially now getting into the low 70s around the Queen City. Day planner hosts mostly partly cloudy skies as we head into your afternoon. Highs make a run for those low 80s. I'm thinking we'll have a good healthy mix of sun and clouds for most of today with another warm afternoon expected for Tuesday. Cooling down as we head into midweek. Wednesday brings those upper 70s, low 70s Thursday and Friday, which are average high this time of year. Typically lands in the upper 70s. So again, we'll be ushering in those cooler temperatures back half of the work week. Rain chances ramp up Wednesday into your Thursday. We're looking at the chances of wet weather for that midweek, courtesy of that cold front, which will approach us from the west. Moisture as of right now locked in over the southeast, giving us some of the cloud cover and the spotty showers over parts of Georgia and South Carolina. More of that moisture will funnel east into parts of Kentucky and Tennessee heading into your Tuesday. Wednesday ushers in the rain chances here close to home. As of right now this morning brings some of the spotty showers over parts of Tennessee, South Carolina, mix of sun and clouds for Charlotte as we head into your Tuesday morning. More of the rain impacts western North Carolina towards Buncombe County, but the showers set up over eastern Tennessee. Then for Wednesday morning, there's that cold front right along that Tennessee border, funneling all that moisture right into Charlotte heading into your Wednesday afternoon. So taking a look, overnight lows bottom out in the low 60s, mid 50s mountain counties for Boone and Jefferson. 7-day forecast hosts those upper 70s for Wednesday with those rain chances popping. And again, more of those low 70s settled in Friday into your Saturday, mid 70s Sunday to finish off the weekend. You're watching Queen City News Now, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. We'll be right back.
Queen City News is honored to bring awareness to Hispanic Heritage Month. The U.S. Census currently reports Hispanics and Latinos make up 16.3% of the Charlotte area population. For an in-depth read about the Queen City's diverse Hispanic culture, you can head to qcnews.com.
Welcome back. Taking one last look at that pinpoint weather forecast. A bit of a cool down happening this week. Low 80s Mondays and Tuesday, and then overnight lows in the 60s before a cold front brings rain chances Wednesday. Some of those lingering showers stick around for Thursday before low 70s. Finishes off the work week, kicks off the weekend. More in the way of sunny skies for Sunday with mid 70s locked in.
All right, Ted, thank you. This morning, we'd like to introduce you to a local veteran who was inspired to serve our country after 9/11.
His name is Sergeant Nicholas Firth, who was enlisted with the Army and served as an infantryman. Now, he lives in Bessemer City now, and back in 2006, Firth was wounded when his truck hit an IED. His right leg was severely wounded, and he suffered a traumatic brain injury. He ultimately decided to have his leg amputated below the knee. And Firth says that his prosthetic leg has changed his life.
But there is a problem. The house he and his wife and their dog live in is not handicap accessible. Sometimes he feels trapped inside his own home.
We're lucky enough to find a handicap accessible house on farmland. The uneven terrain is a little hard for me to navigate. There's days where I can't walk at all and I'm stuck in a wheelchair.
Don't you worry, there is a happy ending to this story. Homes for Our Troops is building him a new home, one that is 100% accessible, and they shared these photos. We're going to be checking in with Firth as progress continues on towards building his forever home, and what a fantastic bit of news for him. What a relief just to not feel trapped in your own home, the place where you're supposed to feel the safest and the most welcome, right?
A little bit of freedom, a little bit of freedom. It was a nice positive story. Speaking of positive, we do have right after this our Positively Charlotte team who is getting ready for a very nice Monday. Guys, what you got on tap for us?
Okay, well, I took a trip to the Mint Museum Randolph. For all of you sneakerheads, they have the evolution of sneakers. You guys, this exhibit was so amazing. It was so much fun to go through and see how sneakers have evolved over the past 200 years.
And also, we are talking about some of the, the biggest names in the Charlotte restaurant world. We are talking about a new show that's talking about Luluya Hall and Supperland and kind of the construction of Luluya Hall. If you remember, it was a church. They moved this structure. They literally picked up the building and moved it and opened this new restaurant in it. So we're going to talk all about that. We're talking with the restaurateurs, the producers behind this show.
Yeah, the show's called Fork and Hammer. It premieres on PBS, so that's going to be an exciting one.
It is exciting. Hopefully the crew got a whole bunch of that Supperland food.
Yes.
Because
crossing my fingers that they're bringing some in.
All right, ladies, thank you so much. You can catch Liza and Alicia starting here at 10 o'clock. But for us, we will see you bright and early here at 4 a.m. tomorrow.